What's up, everyone? Back again at Borgata, got it behind me, here on another Friday night to play some 2-5. I just want to say thank you guys for all the support. My channel's now monetized. When I make that first dollar on YouTube, it's seriously going to be the best first dollar that I've ever made, the hardest I've worked for $1 in my life. But I've been loving this. I've been working super hard. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying the episodes. I'm going to keep them coming once a week, twice a week. Going to try to up it, do it all myself, so I'd appreciate a like, a comment, a subscribe, and let's get right into some hands. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for watching. We sit down at a brand new 2-5 table, buy in for $1,000, and let's get right into the action. We look down at King 5 suited in our first hand, and yes, we are going to get involved early. There's only a raise to $15. We're on the button. We want to show down maybe some looser hands so opponents will think that we don't just sit on aces, kings, and queens, and show that we're here and ready to play. Alright, let's pause the action. We flop a flush draw and a gutter to the king high straight. The opponent that raised pre-flop makes it $30, and I decide to call, and surprisingly, so does the next player. So we're going to be headed 3 ways to a turn. Can we hit the flush right away? Can we start this episode off the right way? Yes, we hit it. We drill the flush. We have the absolute best hand at the moment. It checks to me, and I don't know what exactly I want to do here. I decide to bet for half pot at around $55. I think it's tough between betting small or betting large because my opponent raised pre-flop and continued on the flop, so I think he'll definitely have a strong hand. I think the ace should definitely connect with him, so I don't think he'll fold to a large sizing, but I decide to go with the half size pot. The big blind folds, and now the hijack thinks for a little bit and decides to call. We're looking for a clean river, and we don't exactly get it in the jack of hearts, but I don't think it's necessarily going to give my opponent the winner unless he specifically has jack 10 or ace jack, which both would be pretty reasonable holdings to also bet out this flop. But when he checks to me, I think again this is a spot where I need to bet, and if my opponent raises, it's a pretty easy fold. So I decide to bet for $105. I speed it up. My opponent thinks for a long time. I'm obviously rooting for a call as he does not snap call or snap raise me. And he eventually does make the call, claims to have had king queen, so we got very lucky there, but we're off to a great start on the session, up about $250. No better feeling and no better calming feeling than getting the session off, getting chips pushed your way. I was thinking about raising the flop, I already got a little gross. Now we get the pocket rockets, pocket aces. In under the gun position, we raise to $20, and just a small blind, who is the same opponent from last hand, calls. So just like I said, he's going to be thinking I'm playing a wide variety of hands as I just showed him king 5 suited. So let's see a flop. Seeing a great flop here, he checks it over to me. I decide to c-bet for $20. He doesn't think about it for too long and decides to make the call. So we're headed off to a turn which is disastrous. Another jack. So if he called with top pair on the flop, he now makes trips and is beating us. He decides to check it over though, and I, slightly deceptively, slightly in a pot control mood, decide to check it back. The river is an inconsequential 5, and when he checks it over, now it's time for value though. If he raises again, it's an easy fold, but definitely need to go for value. So I decide to bet $40, and he doesn't think about it for too long and decides to put in the call. I flip over the aces, and he mucks. Gives the universal nice hand tap. I give it back to him, and we pick up a nice pot, as it looks like maybe the check got him to call down with a super weak hand, and we win about $100 here. Always feels good to start the session up about $250 for a little bit of cushion. Stay tuned, this next hand is absolutely insane. Alright, for this hand I started the recording late, so I'll have to deal with the makeshift peel here. I wanted to get you guys to see the cards anyways, but the action goes as follows. The hijack opens it up to 20, the cutoff and the button call, so I decided to complete in the small blind, a little bit of a looser call. The flop comes awesome, 5 of spades, 7 of spades, 8 of diamonds, so we flop the open-ended straight draw and a backdoor flush draw. I check, the hijack now bets $40. It folds back to me, and I decide to raise this up to $150, hoping to take it down now. This is a much better range for me in the small blind, but he decides to pretty quickly call, so not great, but not the worst spot here. Let's see a turn. He can definitely have a lot of overpairs, a lot of spade draws. The turn is an interesting one as it gives us a pair, but now any 4 or 9 makes a straight. Again, he raised in the hijack. Decided to bet this flop, so I don't think he's got a lot of 4s or 9s. Again, a much better card for me, as I'll have all the 4s and 9s here. I decide to bet $220, and once again, he decides to pretty quickly call. To be nitpicky, I don't really like this sizing, but on the other hand, I do like the sizing because he has about $700 in stack here, so if I bet bigger, 300, 350, 400, he'll be pretty committed to call a river, and I won't really have much fold equity if I decide to jam. But like I said, after some thinking, he decides to call the $220, so not exactly sure where we're at, if he's got a spade draw or an overpair, but let's see the 5th card and try to decide what we're going to do on the river. Now the river comes the 3 of clubs, so definitely a brick, and I decide to stick with my plan, stick with my story here that I've got the straight, the 4, or the 9, most likely the 9. All in. And I go all in for about $550 left, and now we play the waiting game. My heart is racing. Did I make the right play? I've been getting picked off on all my bluffs, been giving away all my profit. I've been super annoyed in past sessions, feeling like the world's biggest hypocrite as I've been advocating my followers on Discord not to bluff. If you want to seriously make money, just sit on the nuts. But I do think some of the best thinking poker players know when to bluff, know the correct spots to bluff. He decides to fold. So finally we get a huge bluff through as my opponent started with about $1,000 in this hand. So we pick up about $500 just making a pair. I was ranging my opponents on a lot of overpairs, aces, kings, queens. Potentially a big spade draw like ace king, ace queen, king queen of spades, but once he thought so long on the river, I definitely thought he had aces, kings, or queens, so I love the play here. It puts them in an awful spot. It's so hard to call down with just one pair on such a dynamic board. Yes, sometimes my opponents are going to be too stubborn to fold their overpairs. As you've seen in the past, I've made these bluffs and opponents have called me down with kings. Drop me a like for this crazy bluff, and we're on to the next hand. What's up guys, just a brief pause in today's video to introduce the High Run Poker Club. It's a fun community where you can communicate with poker players around the world. In their Discord in the description below, there are plenty of poker players helping each other out, talking with each other, and sharing new ideas. But best of all, I'll be streaming a free to enter poker tournament this Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know it's early, but there's plenty of prizes. You can come play with me, talk with me, all other members of the community. I'll be there. Make sure to come out. If you don't want to play, make sure to watch. I'll be streaming it, like I said, 10 a.m. EST. Also, if you join their Discord, if you buy an NFT, their community will actually support players for the WSOP for strictly NFT holders. They have regular free roll tournaments, so like I said, check it out. It'll be awesome. I'm in there. Say what's up to me, and let's get right back into some hands. Getting back to the hands, we pick up ace queen suited. The button opens to $15. I 3-bet to $60, and everyone folds. Alright, it didn't work the first time. Let's try it again. Another open to $20. Now we lower it to $50. Will anybody play? Nope, all folds again. Alright, well ace queen didn't work twice. Now let's try ace jack suited of spades. Another open to 20. We 3-bet the same opponent from the first ace queen to 55, and they all fold again. I just had to show this because it was super funny, because all in 3 hands in a row, ace queen suited, the exact same suits, and ace jack of spades don't get any action. Just was kind of funny to show for the vlog. Alright, now we pick up queens and raise to $25, and people are sick and tired of my raises. They are taking a stand. Only the big blind calls my raise here. And we're headed to a flop which comes king high, which is not the best, so when my opponent checks, I decide to check back. A little bit for deception and a little bit for pot control. Now we see the 6 of hearts on the turn, and the big blind pretty quickly bets out for $30, and I decide to call, looking to see a good river, which actually is one of the best in the deck in the king of hearts, so now it's less likely that my opponent actually has a king. And now he pretty quickly bets out for $60. I snap call, he mucks, and we win a nice little pot here. It looks like my check on the flop actually got me 2 streets of value here, as my opponent definitely thought I just had some air and decided to stab the turn and the river. Just another quick stack update. We've got roughly 1500 in stack. Let's keep running this up. Now we pick up queens again in the red variety, this time in the cutoff position, and there's an under the gun +1 straddle to $10. I decide to raise to $30, and just the straddler makes the call, so we see a pretty good looking board in 4-8 jack with a spade draw out there. I decide to bet for $30 when the straddler decides to check to me, mainly targeting a jack here or some type of spade holdings. And he thinks about it for a little while and decides to call. So looking for a good turn, and we get it in a complete brick 2. Now the straddler leads out for $30, and I interpreted this as a blocker bet. I did think about just calling, but I think that's disastrous to let spades see a free card. Maybe a weak top pair see a free card, so I decided to raise this up to $110, and he snap folds. So a little bit of a weird line there, because even if he was having a draw or a weak top pair, feel like he might continue. Maybe he'll just snap fold jack 9, jack 10, but we're on to the next hand. This next hand comes as we're stacking our chips from the previous hand. It's the very next shuffle. We look down at pocket 10s. The player to my right raises to $30, and I do something that I don't normally ever do, and I just call the $30 instead of 3-bet this. I think 100% you should 3-bet to $125, $150 here. Yes, you have to switch it up, but 10s are very hard to play as you don't really know which flops are good for you, so I definitely like a 3-bet here, but I decided to just call, and the cutoff calls as well. I'm hoping for a very good board here. We haven't flopped a set in a while. Can we maybe hit a 10, win a big pot here? We shall see. So we're headed 3 ways to a flop, which doesn't exactly give us a 10, but it's one of the best in 7-8-2 rainbow. The initial raiser checks, which should suggest some type of weakness, maybe some ace high holding, so I decided to take the betting lead and I bet out for $55 here. The next player in the cutoff decides to pretty quickly call, so I'm not exactly sure what he's got, gets back to the initial raiser and he folds, so it's just down to heads up now and we're headed to a turn. Hoping to see a clean turn card, and we do. We get one of the best in the deck in the 4 of hearts. It does now bring on a heart flush draw, but honestly nothing to be worried about. I decide to bet out for $80. And now the cutoff starts thinking about it. He cuts out some chips. He cuts out $80 in chips. And then he keeps grabbing for some more chips. I'm like, what is he going to do? I obviously wanted to call, but a raise is going to be a little weird. He does put in a raise, but it's really not big. It's to $180, which is $20 over a minimum raise, as the minimum raise is $160. So I'm thinking, what does he have here? Does he have a heart flush draw? Does he have 5-6? 5-6 is the only hand that comes in that would have called a flop bet. Does he just have maybe 9-10 of hearts for a big combo draw? I don't know. I think about it for a while, and I decide to just make a pretty tight fold. And my opponent pretty quickly shows pocket 2s, so we made a very good fold. We should have just 3-bet pre-flop, and he would have folded, and we would have avoided this. But we only lose about $200, and we could have lost more. But it's unfortunate, but we're on to the next hand. Alright, for this hand we pick up the beautiful Queen Jack suited in the big blind, hoping for some action in front of us, and the cutoff goes ahead and just jams $75, folds to me, I make the call, I say what do you have, he flips over pocket 10, so it looks like we're going to need some help. It's about a 50-50 flip. It's not for a lot of money here, but I think these are essential for your mindset and for momentum moving forward, so let's win this one. Headed to the flop, running it one time, and bink, we hit the jack, let's go. But the turn comes a sweat as he picks up a diamond. I show he's got 25% equity. Can we fade it? Can we fade it? No. The 10 of hearts on the river. The 2 out set. Yes, he had diamonds, but 2 more 10s in the deck. That's unfortunate, and that's going to wrap up today's hands. Stay tuned for the session updates and a little bit of video of Borgata and Atlantic City, so stay tuned if you want to see around the scene. That's all for today's session. We won $575 over roughly 4 hours and 45 minutes of play. I have some nice clips of Atlantic City, the outside, the upper area of Borgata. Enjoy, and as always, thank you guys for watching. Definitely throw a like and a comment and a subscribe. Join my Discord in the description to talk to me one-on-one, talk hands, join the community. Thank you guys for watching and have an amazing day.